This has to be the craziest car I've had on the channel. Today I'm super excited to be with Tim here, and we are checking out his custom-made Batmobile. What exactly are we looking at right now?
Essentially the car is a 1995 Chevy Caprice, stretched out. We did an LS with it, with an 89 mil turbo, TH400, and a Ford 9-inch. This is the 89 Keaton Batmobile. So what I've learned of owning this is a lot of people reference Batman to their era. A lot of older folks, their Batman's Adam West. Some people, it's Robert Pattinson. To me, it's always been Michael Keaton, and obviously there's Christian Bale and, you know, Ben Affleck. Everybody's got their Batman, I think. So
So it's not just a Batmobile, it's a race car.
Yes.
Underneath this body.
Yep. Yeah, essentially that was our goal, is to be able to drag race with the car. On paper, we figure the car probably has about 9s in it, at about maybe 150. And that is Brandon Miller, Patriot Performance, did just about everything mechanical wise, and just about everything you see here. I was more of the idea guy, and kind of knows the stuff.
Wow, that's awesome. How far has it come from when you bought it?
So I got the car in Los Angeles, and it was basically just a body, sort of the two pieces, the rear and the front, and then the canopy and the trunk were kind of loose. And that was it. It was basically just sitting over a frame that was stretched. So, I mean, a ton of stuff added to it. Obviously, the whole rear end's custom. Yeah, I mean, it went from basically just a kind of a rough body out of the mold to minimal body work, mounted to the frame, and a running driving car in about 6 months.
Approximately, how much do you think you got into this build? And if someone wanted to make this, like, how much is it gonna cost them?
Yeah, roughly, I think where I'm at is around 100,000, and that's being pretty creative and kind of calling in some favors. Luckily, I think with everything we've done, we've been pretty fortunate to avoid, you know, the post-COVID prices, and kind of working around some parts that aren't necessarily the most expensive, but aren't the cheapest, but get the job done at a little bit more reasonable cost, especially the motor. The motor is just a used LS 5.3 aluminum block, so we didn't really build anything there. So we're kind of targeting around 800-900 horse. We know eventually the motor's probably the weak point, though. It's eventually going to go, and that'll be another $5,000 to $6,000 rebuild.
Oh yeah.
And then paint. So yeah, the ultimate goal is to be into it for about 120,000. And if you go looking for a Batmobile, it's kind of a bargain, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as far as the build components, can you touch on those a little bit?
Yeah, so simple parts that you'd use to LS swap just about anything. It is running off a Holley Terminator. We're running the Tinker Dash, which is a very large digital display. It's super helpful. I got tack, fuel, air fuel, like everything on there. 89 mil turbo, I believe that's VS Racing. FTI transmission, the Eldon shocks, Kirky seats. So we do have cameras on the car. It was just some, you know, Amazon pull-off thing, something that had good reviews.
Helps with blind spots because it looks like you can't see much when you're sitting there.
Yeah, it helps a lot. I always tell, like, when I'm on the road, I'd like to have a spotter, somebody else that'll kind of hover around me a little bit. Yeah, like that 3/4 blind spot is tough to see. And mostly, you know, people do take a lot of photos and videos of it, which I personally love. It's very enjoyable, and then I get tagged and stuff, which is really cool. But people have been at least respectful about riding in the blind spots, because I can't not see them. So
that makes
like
sense.
Yeah, I gotta lean up, and sometimes I just gotta gas out of it or slow down if I'm unsure. So yeah.
So as far as inspiration and why you bought this?
Because I wanted to drag race a Batmobile.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and we kind of talked a little bit earlier, but I'm building the Jurassic Park Explorer, and that was a movie that was like really important to me growing up, and it just kind of naturally progressed into meeting some of the other like very cool, inspirational people that were building other movie vehicles.
Yeah.
And one of them was friends with somebody that happened to have a Batmobile, so it's like, want to drag race, I like to go fast, Batman's pretty cool, and we're capable of LS swapping just about anything, so why not LS swap a Batmobile and actually be able to drive it and enjoy it.
Right, why not?
Yeah,
That's cool. So I heard it running off camera earlier. It's super loud.
Yeah.
What's going on for the exhaust?
It's basically just a straight pipe right out of the turbo.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a muffler there that was added. It's just like a little X inside there. It doesn't really do much, but yeah, we just don't want to restrict the turbo any more than we need.
Sure.
So letting it breathe a little bit more, and it's loud, but that's just the way it's going to be. And you know, it rattles and it shakes, and there's some road noise, but we'll get it all dialed in eventually. But as far as the exhaust, it's probably as quiet as it's going to be.
Nice. So your wheel and tire setup looks pretty aggressive. What do you got going on there?
Yeah, so these are, I believe the wheels are made by a company called US Wheel, and then we run the Phoenix, just a slick, to 32 by 14.5, something big. big and meaty to hook up.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got the wings back here, you got the jet afterburner back here. Is that gonna shoot flames or something?
Yeah, that's the goal. We've been debating about a couple of different things, either to make it shoot smoke out for like Comicons, like indoor applications, a little bit safer. Otherwise, there is a propane tank mount in there. So we've talked about a couple of ideas of building a plate in there with a couple of orifices and try to get, 8-10-inch flame, something like that coming out of the back.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. Is it pretty fun to drive?
It can be. It's a chore. The first time I drove it was probably the most intimidating thing I've ever driven in my entire life. When you sit here, there's just so much real estate in front of you.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. And when you're pulling into parking lots, we actually took it through McDonald's drive-thru up in St. Ignace to get ice cream cones. It's a full-time job, like just driving the car, because you do have to turn so far in advance to where you think you would need to. But once you get the hang of it, get on the highway or just like open road, yeah, it's a blast. People's reaction to it, there's just nothing like it. It's amazing. And it's also kind of almost a little, not really depressing, but kind of a bummer is because I love the car and I'm such a big fan that I'm driving the car, I don't get to see it. So that's why I really appreciate when people do take video and photo and they find me on Facebook or Instagram and they send it to me or they send it to one of my friends and I get to see it go down the road. It's like kind of warms my heart a little bit because I'm like, it's my car, it's my baby, I'm driving it. So
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one thing that's your favorite thing about the whole car, what would that be?
Wheel tire fitment, back wheels and tires. This is what does it for me. I love when wheels and tires just fit right. I would say a close second would be the turbo blow off. That's really fun. But yeah, definitely wheel and tire fitment. And the console, the whole back of the car, like this whole area is just really, it just kind of does it for me.
If you had to pick one thing that's your least favorite about the car, what would that be?
How low it is to the ground. Like I said, it's a chore driving the car. When there's any angles or like curves or anything like that to try to get up into a driveway that's a little bit steep, it scrapes and I don't like to hear it, but...
Yeah, makes sense. It's pretty low. Well, shall we take it on a spin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. It's gonna be loud.
That sounds nuts. That sounds good. We found one guy that did 90 with one, and we've done 110 with this one. There's another guy in Australia that's built one. It's a full like coupe chassis. He's on air ride though. I don't know how that will affect things, but he's done 100 with his. But okay, I seen the video. It looked kind of sketchy. Maybe mine looks sketchy doing 100 too. I don't know. Is it pretty difficult to steer? It actually handles really well. If we can find like some twisty, turny roads, it's pretty planted. That's cool. Yeah, and for the big tires on the back, you think it'd be a little wobbly. Pretty fun, isn't it? That's not too bad.
Thank you for that. Oh man. Oh boy, that was good.
I want to give a huge thanks to Tim for letting me film his Batmobile. Go give him a follow on Instagram and show him some love. If you're new to my channel and you're liking this content, I will be posting a brand new video every single week, so be sure to like this video and subscribe, and I will see you next time.